which is Hacktoberfest. I'm your host, Zoya Naveed. I'm the lead creative team of the GDSC UET chapter of this tenure. Um, Okay, about this event or this session, we had a session on yesterday, which was about the advanced Git and GitHub, which was conducted by our lead technical team and development lead Abdurrahman and Hamad. For those who couldn't join us yesterday, this is um, just a brief, history of what we did yesterday. So there's that. And today we're going to be talking about, well, actually, we have our guest who's going to be telling us about Hacktober and how it works, why it's important, all its attributes. Okay, so I think I should introduce our guest. Our guest is Mr. Sadir Khan, all the way from Berlin, Germany. He's working as a software engineer at Kite Systems Inc. And he's also the founder of the GDSC UT chapter and a former development team and a lead at ACM. So thank you very much, Sadbhai, for joining us for this session. Personally, if I had to say something about Sadbhai, is I met him once at an ACM meeting, and that was my introduction to community and how communities work. And since then, I've been following him, and I'm personally a very big fan. And I'm sure he's going to conduct a really great session, a very insightful one as well. So, Saad bhai, thank you very, very, very much for joining us. Um, okay, okay, I think the Saad bhai cannot hear us very well. Please give us a minute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us
Yeah.
now?
Yep. Yep. Now I can.
Okay, that's great. You have actually been introduced. I'm sorry if you couldn't hear us, Pele, but over to you, Saad bhai.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Uh, since मैंने कुछ नहीं सुना जो yeah, I don't know यार क्यों शायद मेरी तरफ से कोई मसला था. Anyway, I have no idea what you said, but thanks. Let me just share my screen and we can take it from there. Okay, everyone can hear me, right? Yep. Uh, okay. Yeah. So let's start this session. I think this is my probably like fourth session जो मैंने दिया होगा since 2019. मैंने 2019 में भी दिया था, 2020 में भी, 21 में भी, 22 में आई थिंक नहीं दिया था, 2023 में अब दे रहा हूँ. So starting with who I am, a few things about me. I think maybe शायद आप में से अक्सर लोगों को पता होगा मेरा because मैं पिछला साल ही ग्रेजुएट हुआ हूँ यूईटी से. So and I think most of you are here from, you know, किस सेशन से हो यार, चैट में लिख दो अपना सेशन जो भी है, ठीक है। आप लोग जिस जिस जी सेशन से 21 22, ओके 21 21 21, ओके। सेशन बैच अच्छा ये ग्रेजुएटिंग सेशन है या ये क्या है, ये बैच है या 29? ओके ओके, आई थिंक मोस्टली सेशन ही है ये। बैच, अच्छा बैच है ये। ओके, यानी अभी आप लोग पिछले साल आए हो या? हाँ, ये 2021 में आए हो, ओके। नाइस। Uh, few things about me यार। I think जिसने भी मुझे इंट्रोड्यूस किया था उसने बताया होगा, मेरा नाम साद है, ठीक है। Right now I'm working as a software engineer at Kite, which is a rental company based out of San Francisco or with their office in Germany. I'm actually based in Germany, so earlier this year I moved here. Previously, I was working at Rapid API, which is world's largest API hub. अगर किसी को APIs का idea है, so I was working there from 2021 when I was in my final year. I started when I was in my final year, and I was working there till this June. Uh, I'm an open source maintainer. I would say author, but author was too big. Project author was too big, so I just added maintainer. How what this means is uh, later in this talk I will differentiate between open source contributors and authors. There are actually two different categories, in at least in my mind. So anyway, I'm an open source maintainer. I have authored like 20 plus tools, open source tools. Jo, if they are open source, people around the world use them. I'm a technical writer. Why? I think someone, I don't know when you should give yourself this kind of designation, a technical writer designation, but I have written over 200 plus technical guides. If anyone wants a link, I can send the link if you want, if anyone wants. But yeah, I have written over 200 plus technical guides. I don't know. Okay, someone wants a link. Okay, let me get that link. This is 223 guides, but who's counting? Yeah. Anyway, so I have actually, I have actually, I don't know if you guys know about next year's conference. It's actually one of the largest developer conferences out there. I was a speaker when I was in my final year in university. They invited me to speak at the conference. I interned at Major League Hacking. Again, not sure how many people know about that, but it's a internship program out of United States, America. So I think अक्सर लोगों को Microsoft Lunch and Ambassador program का idea होगा, अक्सर लोग इधर होंगे भी जो Microsoft Lunch and Ambassador हैं. So I'm a former Microsoft Lunch and Ambassador. I think was I'm not like मैं इस प्रोग्राम में इतना kind of पुराना हूँ क्योंकि मैं इस प्रोग्राम में तब आया था जब इसको Microsoft Lunch and Ambassador भी नहीं कहते थे. Back then it was called Microsoft Student Partner. Anywho, आई थिंक यूईटी से पहला जो जिसने ट्रांजिशन किया था ना माइक्रोसॉफ्ट लर्न स्टूडेंट एम्बेसडर में, पुराना या ओल्डेस्ट, वो मैं था. आई एम द फाउंडर ऑफ दिस सोसाइटी या कम्युनिटी जिसपे ये सेशन हो रहा है, ठीक है. डेवलपर स्टूडेंट क्लब यूईटी चैप्टर. आई फाउंडेड दैट. आई वाज द फर्स्ट लीड. दिस वाज बैक इन 2019. सिंस देन बहुत ज्यादा ये ग्रो कर चुकी है, बहुत ज्यादा अच्छी हो चुकी है. पहले तो वी हैड नो आइडिया व्हाट वी वर डूइंग, ठीक है, but अब तो काफी स्ट्रक्चर आ चुका है. I also previously served as a web development team lead at ACM UET. This was in my final year, and finally I am a UET alumni. I graduated last year. Yeah, this is a brief introduction about who I am. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to either turn on your mic or just drop it in chat. So yeah, let's move forward. How many of you are already familiar with Hacktoberfest, the talk, जिसके बारे में ये सारी talk है? Just chat, or even if you chat, I would prefer chat क्योंकि अक्सर ओ मुझे क्यों अलग से ओके मी एक ने लिखा ओके. I would suggest chat. Chat is the best way. Okay, me, okay. 3 लोगों को बस पता। चलो गुड फॉर मी यार। अगर अच्छा चलो, आई थिंक ज्यादा लोगों को आइडिया होगा, लेकिन जस्ट टू गेट द आइडिया, गेट टू लर्न अबाउट द ऑडियंस, ठीक है, मैंने कहा आई शुड आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन। Another question: how many of you have actually participated in Hacktoberfest in the past years? Okay, एक बंदे ने किया। इसके अलावा बस एक बंदे ने किया। मेरे अलावा यहाँ पे 29 लोग हैं, उनमें से एक बंदे ने किया बस। हम्म, चलो, at least this year I would recommend you try it out. Yeah. So again, this is going to be a very brief talk, ठीक है? It's not going to be a long one. तो किसी ने अगर किसी का कोई प्लान है तो कैंसिल ना करे. But I will have some time in the end जहाँ पे आप लोगों के कोई भी question हो, even other than related to this talk या overall generally CS and all that, ठीक है? तो you are feel free to ask. But end पर. So yeah, before moving to Hacktoberfest, I do think people should know what open source is, and that's why I added this slide about what open source is, what it generally stands for, why we do open source, all these things. ये सारी चीजें ना इसमें आती हैं, ठीक है? Again, quick question: how many of you already know what open source is? How many of you already know what open source is? ओके यार, आई अगेन डोंट रेज हैंड, जस्ट टाइप मी, बिकॉज ना रेज हैंड पे ना वो अलग ही हुआ है पे ले जाता है, ठीक है? इट वुड बी, इट्स इजियर फॉर मी, ठीक है? सो आई वुड प्रेफर के जस्ट आप चार्ट में लिख दो, ठीक है? ओके, सो ओपन सोर्स, ओके, काफी लोगों को आइडिया है ओपन सोर्स का, यानी कितने लोगों का? ओह, काफी लोगों ने एकदम से लिखा है। नाइस। सो बेसिकली ओपन, व्हाट इज ओपन सोर्स? लोगों का अक्सर क्वेश्चन आता है क्यों करें हम ओपन सोर्स, हमें क्या मिलेगा? You know, and then it all, everything usually comes down to money, which is not, which is not bad. Like you should be, you should get paid for your work, but then comes to open source. So open source are generally solutions to problems, and what I mean by solutions to problem is like एक developer था, वो कोई ना काम कर रहा था अपनी कंपनी में या ओवरऑल वो कुछ कर रहा था, और उसको एक प्रॉब्लम दिखी जो ना काफी, उससे पता था कि यार ये सेम प्रॉब्लम है, ये बाकियों को भी आएगी, तो मैंने अपना टाइम लगा के मैंने तो सॉल्व कर ली, सो व्हाई नॉट आई बिल्ट समथिंग, सम लेट्स से अ पैकेज जो बाकी लोग अपने प्रोजेक्ट में इंस्टॉल करें, एंड व्हेन दे रन इनटू दैट प्रॉब्लम दे कैन जस्ट इंस्टॉल दैट पैकेज, और वो उन्हें वो सॉल्यूशन ना लिखना पड़े। मैंने जो एक दफा सॉल्व कर लिया प्रॉब्लम, वो एक दफा मैंने कर लिया और बाकियों को वो ना करना पड़े, सो नो वन एल्स हैज टू वेस्ट टाइम टू फिगर इट आउट, ठीक है? सो दीज आर जनरली सॉल्यूशंस टू प्रॉब्लम्स, ठीक है? एंड ओके, सो नेक्स्ट इज लाइक पब्लिकली एक्सेसिबल सोर्स कोड। ओपन सोर्स का मतलब ही कोई भी जाके उसका कोड पढ़ सकता है, ठीक है? गिटहब पे काफी लोग होंगे, ठीक है? गिटहब पे मोस्ट रिपोजिटरीज जो उधर मौजूद होती हैं वो ओपन सोर्स इस वजह से उनका कोड आप पढ़ सकते होते हो। दे आर नॉट टेक्निकली ओपन सोर्स, लाइक ओपन सोर्स यू हैव टू डिफाइन, आई थिंक, लाइक as far as I know, ठीक है, your code should be licensed to be categorized as open source, कि ओके यार इसने अपने कोड को MIT लाइसेंस किया हुआ है, कोई भी इसको कमर्शियली यूज कर सकता है, ठीक है? क्योंकि जनरली आपके कोड जो डिफरेंट कंपनीज होती हैं उनके कोड पब्लिक होते हैं, बट कोई उसे कमर्शियली यूज नहीं कर सकता, एंड दोज आर नॉट ओपन सोर्स कोड्स, ठीक है? वो पब्लिकली काइंड ऑफ, वो क्या कहते हैं, वो आप देख सकते हो, बट दे आर नॉट, बट दे आर नॉट काइंड ऑफ ओपन सोर्स, ठीक है? दे आर लाइसेंस, ठीक है? जैसे विंडो का लाइसेंस है, विंडो का लाइसेंस लेना पड़ता है आपको, ठीक है? अगर आप उसका कोड ले भी लो और आप उसको फिर बेचना शुरू कर दो कमर्शियली, ठीक है, दे विल सू यू, क्योंकि यू आर डूइंग समथिंग, जो लाइसेंस चीज है उसको आप रेप्लिकेट करके सेल कर रहे हो, डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हो। सो then there is collaborative development, like open source is generally like इस तरह ये होता है कि यार जब एक टूल बहुत फेमस हो जाता है ना, देन पीपल स्टार्ट एंड पीपल स्टार्ट यूजिंग दैट टूल, लाइक बहुत से लोग उसे कर रहे हैं, उसमें वो अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स में कर रहे हैं, बट देन देयर इज लाइक दिस इज कंफर्म समवन आउट देयर जो पता नहीं किधर बैठा होगा, he or she will eventually run into some problem which is going to be specific to their use case, ठीक है, related to that package, ठीक है। वो package, let's say I have built a package, ठीक है, वो package जा रहा है, वो package कोई let's say अफ्रीका में एक बंदा यूज कर रहा है, ठीक है, and he runs into a problem, और वो प्रॉब्लम उसने जब उसने वो पैकेज अपने प्रोजेक्ट में इंटीग्रेट किया तो वो उसको प्रॉब्लम आई। This is actually normal because think about it, right? You cannot, it's not humanly possible to test for every use case. It's not, right? आप कितने लिख लोगे test cases? There will be a barrier and you cannot imagine all the different scenarios. So since I'm saying collaborative development, that guy, that person will find the repository of my package. He will go into issues. He will open a new issue. Okay? And if he's a nice person, he will send a PR to fix that issue. He won't just rely on me. So that's where what I'm saying as a collaborative development. Since it's open source, everyone can see the code. Everyone has access to the code. They can just they can just locally clone it in their laptops. They can fix something which is specific to their particular maybe use case, or which they know they think can affect other people as well. So they are actually contributing to the code. So again, so I am the original author, लेकिन कोई और जिसको भी कोई भी मसला आ रहा है वो उससे वो locally clone करके he or she will fix it and they will send a PR, and it's collaboration, ठीक है। I don't know that person, but he is actually fixing my code. So that's where collaborative development comes in the picture. Then there is like, you know, it's a it's like transparency and security as well. Like think about it, right? मैंने कोड लिखा है, I think it's rock solid, ठीक है, इसे कोई भी break नहीं कर सकता, but I may be wrong. Maybe there is someone out there who is way better than me. He or she may have find a way to break my code, and I don't know that way, right? क्योंकि मैंने सोचा ही नहीं उसको. Again, this is again at the end of the day, it does come down to how much we have, हमने कितने ज़्यादा उस पे काम किया और कितना. Again, there are some human limitations as well, but बात यही आती है कि so since it's publicly accessible, anyone can see the code, anyone can see the security flaws that I have in my code that other people are using. Maybe a way senior developer, maybe a staff level developer looks at my code, देख के कहे यार ये क्या किया हुआ है, ठीक है, इसको ठीक करो, otherwise it will lead to this. So since it's public and it's transparent, anyone can go and look at the code and addresses the security concerns. So this leads to a very strong code base and very widely used package, because when there is a huge usage behind a certain package and people contribute to it because they don't want their project to end up affected by a vulnerability. Like मेरा package 10,000 लोगों ने install किया हुआ है, they will definitely scrutinize my package before installing it in their commercial project to make sure there is no security vulnerability. If there is, they will open an issue, they will send an MR or a PR to fix it before integrating that package in their own project, in their own commercial project. So that's where transparency and security comes in. Then it's cost free and low cost. Again, this is ये बहुत सबसे debatable बात है open source की. यार, it's a free package. Why should I make something for free? Why should I allow people to use it in their commercial projects जिससे वो पैसा कमा रहे हैं but I'm not getting a penny, ठीक है? Why would I do that? This is the question. This is generally ये बहुत बड़ी प्रेडिकेमेंट रहती है. लाइक एक बंदा हो ना जो ओपन सोर्स को बहुत ज्यादा करता हो, यार नहीं ये नहीं है, जिसने जिसने ओपन सोर्स के खिलाफ बात करनी होगी ना, वो ये कहेगा यार मुफ्त में कोड लिख रहे हो. मुफ्त में लिख रहे हो, मुफ्त में काम कर रहे हो, मुफ्त में टाइम लगा रहे हो। you're आप लोग, I think you are in like maybe like first year and the second year, maybe I think someone people here from third year, हाँ यही चल रहा बैच, आई थिंक सेकेंड थर्ड ईयर में ही हो आप लोग, ठीक है, या फर्स्ट ईयर हाँ में हो गए। तो you, a little down the road you will realize that your time is actually very, you can actually, आपकी your time is your is money यार। आप you can define how much your time is worth, ठीक है। it's very common, ठीक है, लोग करते हैं, and it's actually how you do things, ठीक है। ओके मुझे सिर्फ 5 घंटे लगेगा, मेरा hourly rate है let's say $50, ठीक है, this is like $250 worth of my work, ठीक है। So why should I spend 5 hours of my time, which is like worth $250, and make something for free for someone else? This is a very big predicament, and it comes down to, the answer comes down to जो आगे मैंने स्लाइड में लिखा है। लेकिन actually the answer is kind of, मैं अगर एक मैं थोड़ा सा जिस दूं तो it's like, since people are going to use your project if it gets popular and you are like उस level पे आप एक developer हो जो इतना इस जिसका इतना ज्यादा मतलब लोग, $50 is a very normal rate by the way, ठीक है। जनरली लोगों के $100 $150 पर आवर होते हैं hourly rate। तो अगर आप उस लेवल के डेवलपर हो and you have seen उस लेवल की उस आपने प्रॉब्लम देख के आपने सॉल्व किया ना, and people end up start using your project, then it means that when they run into issue, they will reach out to you and they will probably want to hire you because you are the original author of that package. You know them, you know that package better than anyone else in their company. And people actually get hired like that. Google, Ashraf, when you guys will start working in like, when you just the job companies, you will see that just like commercial projects, they heavily rely on open source packages. Heavily. They are like, I can give you example. सबसे बड़ी example तो ये है React। React एक library है, UI library, ठीक है। हर बंदा, almost हर बंदा कहता है यार React आती है, ये आती है। They make money through React applications बना के। It's open source, ठीक है। So जिसने React बनाई है, ठीक है, अगर वो कोई मतलब ऑफ कोर्स जिसने रिएक्ट बनाई है वो फेसबुक में इस वक्त बैठा हुआ है, ठीक है। जो रिएक्ट का ऑथर है, जो रिएक्ट का कोर कंट्रीब्यूटर्स में आता है सबसे ज्यादा, जिसने उसके कोर में कंट्रीब्यूट किया है, वो फेसबुक में इस वक्त बैठा हुआ है। फेसबुक ने ही एक्चुअली, उसने फेसबुक में रह के ही रिएक्ट बनाई है, उसे किसी कंपनी में जंप होने का मौका नहीं मिला। बट बट देर आर पीपल आउट देयर, एक बंदा है ओपन सोर्स कंट्री, वो बहुत बड़ा ओपन सोर्स है काइंड ऑफ, सिंथ्रे साहोस। आई थिंक ही इज बेस्ड आउट ऑफ थाईलैंड, और उसके पैकेजेस बड़ी बड़ी, उसके पैकेजेस लिटरली टॉप जो फॉर्च्यून 500 कंपनीज में फॉर्च्यून शायद 10 यूज करती हैं। एंड उसकी फुल टाइम जॉब है ओपन सोर्स प्रोजेक्ट में काम करना। कंपनीज एक्चुअली पे हिम to maintain his open source tools because their infrastructure is relying on those open source tools, open source projects. So at the end of the day, again, I'm not saying this कि यार जाओ एक open source project बनाओ, लोग तुम्हारा tool use करेंगे and you will get famous and you will get hired. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this at all. What I am saying is, when you do a lot of open source and you build a lot of open source tools, then there comes a time that you're one of your many projects gets really famous, or you have solved a really really common problem. So now that people are actually using your open source package, they would then eventually would want to either hire you to pay you to maintain that package and all those things. किसी का कोई question है? I think someone raised a hand. Okay, moving on. So that's where cost free or low cost justifies it in many ways. ठीक है? Right now, all of you in this meeting are juniors. ठीक है? I'm not saying university juniors, I'm saying as a junior level developer. Some of you are not even juniors. ठीक है? So there is a like often it happens. This is I have seen this happening like many times. मुझसे लोग पूछते हैं, reach out करके, यार जर्मनी कैसे मूव करें, यार जर्मनी में कैसे जॉब लें, यार जर्मनी में रिलोकेट कैसे करें. And when I give them the path, वो कहते हैं कि यार, and they end up giving up because this is very common issue. ठीक है कि ना, people want to get there but they don't want to put in the effort. ठीक है. This is the same thing. This is the same thing regarding open source as well. So you need to put in the work, you need to put in the effort to make your mark, and then, you know, end up like getting somewhere. ठीक है. End up getting in a position that people starts paying you. Anyways, so then there are like code contributors, and you know, acha, haan, so this is a category which I have defined कि open source, अगर someone has to say कि यार क्या करना है ओपन सोर्स में, ठीक है, किस तरह ओपन सोर्स होता क्या है, तो मैं ना दो कैटेगरीज में ओपन सोर्स को डिवाइड करता हूँ. एक होता है कंट्रीब्यूटर्स, एक होता है प्रोजेक्ट ऑथर्स. कंट्रीब्यूटर्स क्या होते हैं कि जो जिस तरह के प्रोजेक्ट ऑथर से शुरू करते हैं. बल्कि प्रोजेक्ट ऑथर क्या है कि आई हैव सीन अ प्रॉब्लम, I have built a solution. Now I have made that package open source. I have published that package on NPM, which is the largest open source project repository. I have published it there, okay? And now people are going to use that package. So who am I? I am the open source project author. I wrote that package, okay? And since it is open source and I'm allowing people to use it commercially in their projects, so I have made an open source contribution, but I am an open source project author. Then there are open source contributors. Someone out there जिसने मेरे पैकेज में कोई गलती ढूंढ ली है, he will or she will find the repository of my package. ठीक है, npm में लिंक होती है, npm में पैकेज के साथ लिंक होती है. They will open an issue, and if they are a good person, if they are good people, they will clone the repo and fix it themselves and send in PR for me to review. ठीक है. So if they do that, then they are contributing to my open source project. So they are contributors, open source contributors. And this is how I like to describe it when it comes to people talking about open source or kis tarah kya karna hai. Okay, there are project authors who actually maintain who actually write the initial code, maintain it, and then there are contributors who contribute to that code. So this is open source. I hope clarity आ गई होगी कि what I'm trying to say कि open source क्या है, क्यों exist करता है, ठीक है, ये सब के around clarity आ गई होगी, because this is really important if we are moving forward to Hacktoberfest, because 10 साल से हो रहा है. There is a reason it's happening for 10 years, and there is a reason it started in the first place. So moving on, Hacktoberfest 101 जिसके लिए मैं आज. So Hacktoberfest क्या है? I think most of you already know. ठीक है, what most of you know is it's an event that happens every year where when you submit 4 pull requests, you get a free T-shirt and some stickers. This is what people generally know about open source. If someone else also knows something about it, then feel free to either turn on your mic or maybe drop it in the chat. But yes, this is the general gist of it. कि open source क्या है? But why it started? Because it aimed to promote and support open source community. Because this started back in 2013. 10 साल पहले React नहीं थी, by the way. I think the React कब बनी थी? एक सेकंड. React का पहला version कब आया था? When was React released? हाँ, yeah. नहीं, almost. अक्टूबर में ये शुरू हुआ था, मई में React आई थी. So again, this was back in 2013. People, जो मैंने सारे predicaments आप लोगों के सामने रखे हैं, सारी situations रखे हैं, mindset रखी है, why do we spend our time? Why do we not spend it and make some money out of that time? All these things. ठीक है, ये सारी वो चीजें हैं. Why shouldn't I make $500 in like 5 hours instead of spending 5 hours on something which I'm not even getting paid for, which people are going to use for free. So to kind of like, promote the open source culture, to promote open source itself, uh, Hacktoberfest started. DigitalOcean जो एक company है, hosting company, they started they started this event called Hacktoberfest, which is very, very similar to Oktoberfest, which is an event that happens every year in the month of October in Munich, जहाँ पे वो बियर पीते हैं. It's called Oktoberfest, and they, I think, I don't know उन्होंने क्या सोच के ये रखा है, but anyway, Hacktoberfest happened, and why? Because 10 years ago there was not a big culture of working for free, or maybe like doing open source work, or building open source software. So Hacktoberfest started to promote that. Okay, yeah, okay, do this, like make contributions, submit 4 pull requests, that like proper pull requests, and you will, as a token of appreciation, we will send you a T-shirt, symbolizing your, you did that. This is, you did that. Okay, but you can wear this shirt in conferences, and people would know. Oh, this guy or this girl participates in Hacktoberfest. Like this is very. They actually like they were actually very clever, because a lot of people started contributing to Hacktoberfest because of that. Yes, there this time no T-shirt, and yeah, I am going to see how many people are going to complete Hacktoberfest this year, because again, T-shirts are like a very big, huge kind of motivators. But anywho, so Hacktoberfest started to promote the open source culture, to promote open source itself, ताकि इस वक्त जो इतने ज़्यादा open source tools exist कर रहे हैं, Axios हो गया, Chalk हो गया, React हो गया, Next.js हो गई, ठीक है, ये सारे जो पैकेजेस हैं जो ऑलरेडी इतने एग्जिस्ट कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, अब मेरे माइंड में रिएक्ट क्वेरी हो गई, ठीक है, इस तरह के जो सही हैवी अच्छे अच्छे पैकेजेस हैं, ठीक है, ये कोई आके ये बनाए जा सके, ठीक है, अगर ओपन सोर्स को इतना प्रमोट ना किया जाता, देन वी वोंट बी यूजिंग ऑल दीस पैकेजेस, एंड probably we won't be too very much advanced in web development than we are right now. So they started this. The requirements was, आपने पुल रिक्वेस्ट ओपन करनी है, 4 पुल रिक्वेस्ट ओपन करोगे, ठीक है, आपने आपकी क्वालिटी होनी चाहिए, क्वांटिटी. They were like initially it was all about contributing. Then when it grew, people start actually some, I don't remember who. I do actually know the country, but I'm not going to name that country. So uh, someone from a very particular country, they started opening spam PRs in official React repositories, which became a very, very big issue, because hundreds and thousands of people started doing it. And this led to फिर this led to special, उन्होंने Hacktoberfest की वेबसाइट पे आ गया था कि भाई quality over quantity, ठीक है, don't do this, ठीक है. And in fact they actually added some they added some checks कि okay, yeah, you need to have Hacktoberfest label, ठीक है, to make sure it's आपकी आपकी पीआर मर्ज होने से पहले उसमें Hacktoberfest का लेबल होना चाहिए, सो ताकि वो काउंट होगी, उसी वक्त वो काउंट होगी अगर उस पे Hacktoberfest का लेबल हुआ. So this happened, and yeah, they found a way, but it wasn't the best. I think people still did it a lot. Anyways, so, and I think lastly, what Hacktoberfest is about is it's actually about community, because again, what they did with giving all those t-shirts away, they build a community, because if someone is wearing that shirt, there's a very high chance you can go to that person and start talking to him about either open source or like web itself or like anything, because you know that, oh, there is someone out there who is like, this is a community. What I'm trying to say, they actually built a community. Okay, because you already know this guy or this person is like, they have contributed to open source. There is something you can talk about. ठीक है, वो आपके meetups पर awkward silences नहीं होंगे. ठीक है, awkward conversations नहीं होंगी. ठीक है, you can go and talk about, oh yeah, Hacktoberfest में ये किया, वो था सही, हमने ये I fixed that problem. This is actually the sense of community that they wanted to spread, and they actually did that. I think they were very successful in that. And again, wearing an Hacktoberfest shirt is actually something very, it's very kind of, I would say, proud. But my mother don't like to think that. उनको वो shirt बिल्कुल नहीं पसंद, और वो उसे पोचा बनाने के हक में थी, which मैंने जो बहुत कोशिश की कि वो ना हो सके, लेकिन हो गया eventually. लेकिन that shirt actually symbolizes something. So, but this happened to me. I hope किसी के साथ नहीं हुआ हो, किसी और के साथ नहीं हुआ होगा. So yeah, this is Hacktoberfest, yeah. And how to kind of participate is, so I'm not going to teach you how to go complete that challenge. I did that I think I was the first person जो UET में Hacktoberfest को as a workshop जिसकी लेके आया था. And in that workshop मैंने पता नहीं कितने 30-40 लोगों के ना बैठ के challenges करवाए थे, खत्म, like complete करवाए थे. And I also did the wrong thing here, because the way I showed them कि, oh, you can do this, was not the best way. It wasn't quality. It was just completing the challenge. But if someone, but I do think कि अगर कोई complete beginner है जिसको नहीं पता, तो they can do that. It's not a big deal. Anywho, so how to participate? You can just register on Hacktoberfest website using your GitHub or GitLab account. ठीक है? Go over there, like यहाँ पे आपको जाकर register करना होगा. Start hacking, register. मैंने complete नहीं किया हुआ, तो मेरे 0 आ रहे हैं. Heads up. So, but you need to register using your GitHub or GitLab account. ठीक है? Then you can, just find the repositories. ठीक है? There is this repository which I found. I just write Hacktoberfest here. ठीक है? और वहाँ पे ये सारी इतनी repositories आ गई हैं. ठीक है? मैंने एक open की, इसके कोई 100,000 folks, sorry, not 100,000, 1,000 folks हो गए हैं. ठीक है? इतने लोगों ने इस पे कर चुके हैं already. इतनी इस पे pull request already open है 425. So people are actually doing it. So yeah, nice. Okay, so yeah, find repositories that accept Hacktoberfest contributions. Make sure कि आपकी pull request पे label हो end पे merge होने से पहले आप, you need to submit 4 pull requests. And lastly, make sure to have, again, Hacktoberfest label in your PR again. Or if you do want to look at some steps, I actually created this repository, I think back in 2021, where I have listed all the steps, ठीक है, which you have to follow to, complete the challenge. But yeah, I don't know slides and share होंगी या नहीं, but if someone is interested, I can just send it in the chat. Anywho, moving forward, so lastly, then there are the benefits. क्या benefits हैं? So I think मैंने काफी ज़्यादा already बता दिए हैं, लेकिन फिर भी there are some benefits like coding skill development, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of projects out there, ठीक है, जो you have no idea कि, मतलब I don't even have an idea, ठीक है, कि कितने projects हैं उधर अभी right now GitHub पे. But if you're contributing to some project, you will learn a lot from it. Why am I saying this? Because this is, I like to believe this, ठीक है, or this is actually very true, कि you learn a lot by reading other people's code. You learn how they think, how they have fixed a problem. You literally learn a lot when you are reading someone else's code. This actually is actually very true. Then there is like this thing, since it's Hacktoberfest, you will definitely be using Git. Git is actually a version control system. So अगर किसी को नहीं आता तो I think कल की workshop में probably they will touch that. And lastly, I, collaborations again. I don't. You're collaborating with people. That's pretty normal with open source as well. And Hacktoberfest may there's a I think this time digital reward in there. Then there is portfolio enhancement. You can definitely write your open source contribution in your resume or portfolio and everywhere where you want to write it. If it is something really significant, if it's something really big or you fix a big problem, you can definitely write about it. Then it's personal and professional growth. Personal growth is since you are actually like solving a lot of problems and you are improving yourself, you're growing as a developer. And at the same time, professional growth is say, okay, if you write about those problems and you have like fixed a really like मुश्किल heavy problem, ठीक है, using इसी से मतलब Hacktoberfest में, ठीक है, you can definitely mention it in your resume again, and it will help you in when you're applying for jobs. Then again, exposure to diverse technologies, you will like बहुत सारे इस वक्त बहुत से projects हैं. There are a lot of projects out there जो बहुत different languages में लिखे गए हैं, so it's also a good way to learn something new. You will learn from others, which I was saying earlier, because you will be reading their code, you will be reviewing the code, so you will be learning from them. And lastly, it's a networking opportunity. How so? I already described this earlier. कि since it's something which a lot of people do, so you are also doing the same thing. So you can actually, it's very easy to talk about it. So these are some benefits of Hacktoberfest. They are very like the thing is I didn't write getting a T-shirt uh, or like digital reward and benefits mainly because you can just go to किसी भी दुकान पे जाओ वहां से एक शर्ट खरीद लेना ठीक है it's not it's not kind of benefits are like long term benefits so wo t-shirt is like yes it will help you network but it's I won't count it in benefits uh yeah that's I think that is pretty much it and if someone has any questions feel free to ask either like turn on their mic or maybe drop it in the chat about anything and yeah that's pretty much it.
Yes, so if anybody has any question, please guys drop it in the chat and I would read it to Saad Bhai. And or if you want to ask it directly, you can open your mic as well. It could be related to anything. So we are open to that.
I don't think there are any questions. Uh, can you share the details of the workshop? I think that's not a question for me, but for Abdullah. Anything else? किसी कोई और question? I think इधर CS से कौन है वैसे? Hacktoberfest 31st अक्टूबर तक है. CS से तो 2 लोग हैं. ठीक है, 3 लोग हैं. 4, 5, 6, 7 काफी लोग हैं. अच्छा मैं भी CS से हूँ. हाँ मैं CS से हूँ. CS से कैसे यूनिवर्सिटी आई थिंक यूनिवर्सिटी से चल रही होगी यूनिवर्सिटी सही जा रही है सब लोग सही पढ़ा रहे हैं मुझे तुम लोगों ने तो कोई सवाल करना नहीं है what will be a suggestion for a beginner to start open source यार I think everyone is a beginner until they aren't ठीक है so I would say just start ठीक है it could be anything it could be fixing some documentation ठीक है ग्रामर गलत है भाई पंक्चुएशन मार्क आना चाहिए यहाँ पे it could be that ठीक है or it could be a problem that you may have find or may have ran into ठीक है it could be anything At the end of the day, the first package that I wrote, it was shit. Like seriously. Uh, because if I have to, I remember that package. It wasn't even. It shouldn't even called a package. And but I learned a lot from writing that package. What I learned was how to publish a package on NPM. Okay. I didn't know it earlier. Okay, but I learned that. And then I built another one. Then I built another one. Then I built another one. और फिर मैं बनाता गया. So you eventually actually you do actually uh like at the end of the day it is actually the matter of starting something and being resilient. Okay, don't leave it if you or give up after like 2 days. I think not even 2 days. 2 days is लोग एक एक दिन में छोड़ देते हैं. ठीक है, it's वो कहते हैं ना, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. ठीक है, लोगों को स्प्रिंट और मैराथन का पता है ना? अगर होपफुली पता होगा, मैराथन होती है जो लंबी होती है, 4 10 10 किलोमीटर. ठीक है, स्प्रिंट होती है जो शायद 250 मीटर. ठीक है, इट्स नॉट अ स्प्रिंट, इट्स अ मैराथन. टेक ट्रीट इट एज अ मैराथन. ठीक है. uh, other than that, please share the path बाहर जाने वाला with us as well. We won't back off. किसी का कोई क्वेश्चन? आई थिंक किसी ने हाथ खड़ा किया हुआ. जहां तक बाहर जाने वाले पाथ की बात है यार. I don't know if it's a serious question or if it's sugar, but one thing I can add here is one thing I can add here is कि if you do want to like move somewhere other than Pakistan, ठीक है, then I would suggest like लोग ignore करते हैं, but you should do a lot in your university. Like यूनिवर्सिटी टाइम, यूईटी स्पेशली. मैं यूईटी में मैंने 4 साल अपने गुजारे हैं. ठीक है, आई एंडेड अप विद अ गुड जीपीए, ग्रेजुएटेड विद अ गुड जीपीए एज वेल. सो मैं माठा बंदा नहीं था. ठीक है, बस पढ़ भी लिया करते थे पेपर से एक दिन पहले. लिटरली बुक डाउनलोड करते थे. लेकिन बट ड्यूरिंग इन all that time you need to make sure कि यार you are also doing other things. And I'm not talking about community. I did a lot of community and I don't do any community now. ठीक है, मैंने अपने सेकेंड ईयर में मैंने ये डीएससी शुरू की थी. ठीक है, सेकेंड ईयर के मिड में मैं माइक्रोसॉफ्ट लंच एम्बेसडर बन गया था. उसके बाद एसीएम आ गई. मतलब आई हैव डन अ लॉट ऑफ कम्युनिटी. बट at the end of the day, if you want to get into engineering, then you need to add some engineering weight to your or to all your work as well. Okay? And that weight will come when you will either start building your own stuff, open source projects, or start doing some projects of your own. Maybe let's say यार Stripe सीखना है. Stripe मुझे नहीं आता किसी को, let's say. So you can always go and start experimenting with it, or maybe build a small backend or a front end and integrate Stripe in it. ठीक है, it's not difficult. अच्छा यार, चार्ट बनानी है. ठीक है, किस तरह बनाए? वेब सॉकेट से बनाते हैं, बट पहले नहीं बनाई, बट वीडियो देख के बनाते हैं. देख के बना ली, चलो दूसरी दफा भी बनाते हैं. इसलिए प्रॉपर एक प्रोजेक्ट में इंटीग्रेट करते हैं. दिस इज समथिंग दैट रियली रियली काउंट्स. ठीक है, you need to keep learning. And you need to have projects. Build projects. I would suggest try to make some open source projects as well. See a problem, fix it. Don't just rely on other people to fix those problems. Seriously, this is also something that you would, if you have this in you, if okay, you actually like when you see a problem, you go and fix it yourself, then it is going to help you a lot in your job, in your career as well, because it's actually what matters, because you are actually taking the ownership. Okay, you are taking the lead to fix something. I think the last problem that I saw was लोगों को resume का format नहीं बनाना आता. I think this was the last problem, but अभी recently मुझे एक idea आया था कि यार वो ये problem है, इसको fix करना चाहिए. But anywho, यार लोगों को resume का format नहीं बनाना आता. ठीक है, तो आई मेड अ स्मॉल वेब ऐप जिसमें आपके बस डेटा की फाइल एडिट करनी है, और कोई भी अपनी इसमें वो ऑटोमेटिकली आपको फॉर्मेटेड रेज्यूमे बना के दे देगी। ठीक है। इट वाज अ प्रॉब्लम, लोगों को नहीं आता, लोग नहीं करना चाहते, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट वर्ड नहीं यूज करना चाहते एंड ऑल दैट। सो जस्ट फाइंड अ प्रॉब्लम। यार इफ यू डोंट, हाँ, तो यू कैन ऑलवेज फाइंड सम डॉक्यूमेंटेशन रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम्स। अगर कोई डॉक्स गलत है या डॉक्स में कोई इशू है, ठीक है, यू कैन फिक्स दैट। ठीक है। मैंने एमडीएन का, आई होप अक्सर लोगों को आइडिया होगा, मोजिला डेवलपर नेटवर्क, एमडीएन। एमडीएन डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के लिए बहुत बहुत अच्छा है। जब भी आप सर्च करो कुछ, ओ ये क्या चीज है, ठीक है, तो एमडीएन का अमूमन लिंक आता है। तो उसमें मैंने बहुत बग्स देखे हैं, बहुत सी गलत इंफॉर्मेशन देखी है, ठीक है, तो उसे जाके खोल करके कंट्रीब्यूट कर किया मैंने। इट्स नॉट अ बिग डील, ठीक है, बट यू कैन ऑलवेज डू दैट। जस्ट if you it the contribution doesn't have to be your code related. You can always contribute related to documentation. Did that community work you did help in any way or give an edge? Honestly, it would have if I wanted a career in it. Uh, and it will in my long term career goals. The thing is with community work, there is something called, if you want to pursue developer advocacy, uh, then do community. It will help you a lot. And I pursued it for some time along with software engineering, but I didn't really enjoy it. And then I became a full-time software engineer. So all this community work will help you if your goals are not, if your goals are different. Okay? If you want to get into highly recognized programs at Google, at GitHub, just like GitHub stars, Google developer experts, and they actually, for the in order to get into those programs, though these are actually invite only programs, and they are not like JDSC and anything like that. Google Developers Expert is an extremely competitive program. Someone from Google or an actual expert uh, invites you, and then Google interviews you, and then you become a Google Developer Expert. But you also need to have done a lot of community related work in the field in which you are becoming a Google Developer Expert. So yes, it will if your goals are aligned with it, but it won't give you any edge in terms of getting an engineering job. It won't. I have done a lot of community work, and this is my take on it. But I'm not saying कि ना करो, करो. Be try to be an all rounder. Any other question? हाँ, प्रीवियसली बस मैं ये कह रहा था कि यार जस्ट मेक श्योर, जस्ट अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स करते रहो। अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स करोगे तो आपके पास एक्सपीरियंस आएगा तो आप कंपनीज में बाहर अप्लाई कर सकते हो, जिसकी बेस पे आपकी सीवी रियली मैटर्स, किसमें आपने आपके बेसिकली आपकी जो जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन होती है ना, उसके अगेंस्ट आपकी सीवी मैच होती है, ठीक है, उसे एटीएस स्कोर कहते हैं। तो वो जो स्कोर होता है ना, उसकी बेस पे रिक्रूटर आपको रीच आउट करता है, ठीक है। सो if you don't have anything on your CV, तो फिर आपका ATS score zero है, then no one will reach out to you. So it's not that difficult to get a job in Germany, but you need to have something to show for, and you need to also like clear the interviews. If you clear the interviews, you can easily like relocate here. जॉब पे इधर आना इतना मुश्किल काम नहीं है, स्पेशली सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स के लिए. I think there is no other question, so we can maybe wrap it up.
Okay, thank you very, very, very much, Saad Bhai, for joining us. We really, really appreciate your insight, and the session was great. You have been a leader, and we all derive such source of inspiration from you, since you are our senior, especially due to that fact. So thank you very much for your time. I'm pretty sure आपका schedule बहुत busy होता होगा, आप बहुत busy हैं, but thank you very much. We are really appreciative of the fact that you came and you delivered such an insightful session. Thank you very much.
No worries. Bakia, thanks.
Yes. Okay. So, guys, tomorrow we're going to be having our third day, which is going to be the contribution session, which would be head by our lead technical and lead development team. So please join us at CE Lab from 11 to 1. And you need, and the registration form have has been shared in the chat box, and you need to register it so that we can give you guys the certificates tomorrow, inshallah. So, really hoping that all of you who joined us today or joined us yesterday would be joining us tomorrow. It's going to be really good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really exciting. So yeah, that's about it. Abdullah, over to you if you want to say something. Okay, that's great. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Sadbhai, once again. It's been a pleasure. It's been great. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. And I hope, Sadbhai, we get to learn more from you. And thank you very much.
Okay, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, everybody.